Super Sodiq Yusuff. He's gracing the octagon right across from Edson Barboza, man. This is a featherweight contest. This is going to be a fun one that I have actually been looking forward to for a while because, AJ, this isn't a new matchup. These two were actually slated to fight once upon a time. All these years later, here we are. Trajectories haven't changed much, but I will say Edson Barboza is not quite the same fighter that he was in 2020. A little bit of a different fighter. Eternal gatekeeper is something that I would consider him as right now, because I do not think a title contention is on the line from the B side, from the blue side. Would you agree with that? Who has the pressure on them going into this matchup?
I think Sodiq Yusuff, Derek. Sadiq's the one with all the pressure going into this fight because Edson Barboza, you're right, he is a different fighter from 2020. Arguably, has his skills grown? Have they decayed? Has he gone up and down in certain levels? I think he's a more well-rounded, composed fighter in there at the Edson Barboza he is now. Sure, some people think he's not as dangerous, but if you sleep on him, man, he will be doing work. We saw it happen in the Billy Q fight last. I don't think Sodiq is going to be sleeping in this one, but he does have a hell of a mountain to climb. Who do you say the pressure's on?
Yeah, I would definitely say it is on Sodiq Yusuff, but then again, you cannot discount the name of Edson Barboza. Just carrying that name holds a lot of weight, and if you lose to a Sodiq Yusuff, we got to start asking a couple of questions and saying, okay, Edson Barboza, number 13, does he need to be in that top 15? So I think he's fighting for his number, to be completely fair with you, because Super Sodiq Yusuff, man, he's got some good wins, but this would be, aside from, I would say, Arnold Allen, this is going to be like the biggest name on his resume, right? And that doesn't really tell you too much, given that Arnold Allen, though he is a perennial contender, he's not an Edson Barboza, am I right?
Absolutely, Derek. I think the levels that both of these guys have faced, this is not necessarily a step up for Sodiq Yusuff, but it is a step in the right direction to be fighting upwards that ladder. As far as Edson Barboza, he's fought everybody, done it all. So I don't think he's going to be too shell shook, if you will. But you're right. You got a target on your back as big as Barboza has. You're always a little stressed.
Now let's talk about some X's and O's for this matchup, right? One thing that you would say about Sodiq Yusuff, especially given his last performance, which was a gimme, is that, well, why wouldn't he take it to the mat? Why would he kickbox with Edson Barboza? Who in their right mind wants to get flatlined, gets body kicked? Everything hurts from Edson Barboza when it comes back your way. However, I have a funny feeling here that this is going to be a stand-up war back and forth, which then makes it really competitive and does absolutely open up the door for Edson Barboza to have a showcase type bout here. The only problem is Edson Barboza, though he has tons of power, though he's incredibly athletic and dynamic, the numbers in terms of how much output, it's not too waning, but there's a stark difference, man. Sodiq Yusuff, about 5.5 significant strikes landed per minute. Edson Barboza, he's looking at about 4 on the nose right there. Is volume going to be a problem for Edson Barboza?
I don't think so, Derek. And why I don't think the volume is going to be a problem is because of the power and the crack that Edson Barboza hits you with. He's going to be able to get the respect from Sodiq Yusuff right away. Even though I do expect Sodiq to be on the front foot here, I do think he's going to be a little worried about what's coming back once he goes toe-to-toe. Do you feel the same, or are you thinking a little opposite there?
I don't know, man. I have a feeling that Yusuff might be able to use some of that footwork and the threat of taking it down to the mat as a method to be able to corral Edson Barboza up against the cage and then kind of just do his work right there. But then again, Edson Barboza is not a guy who will always sit back unless you're going to wrestle him fully, right? Bryce Mitchell style, where he'll just be like, all right, I'm waiting for the shot so he could time the knee, Billy Q. Sodiq Yusuff does have a lot on the line right here because this is going to be the thing that's going to propel him for those real money fights at this point. Even though Edson Barboza is a gatekeeper in this stage of his career, I do think once you get this victory, especially if it's convincing, you start working your way back up to it. Maybe a potential Arnold Allen rematch, but really that top 7, I would say, of the men's featherweight division, I think it really opens it up. So he has to put on a stunning display here if he wants that. I just don't know how reasonable that is against an Edson Barboza, though we do have to take into consideration what have those losses looked like in his last couple, man. He had that losses against Gaethje, Felder, Ige, one against Mirkani, one against Burgos, lost to Giga, lost to Bryce Mitchell, got back against Billy Q. Would you say there's a common theme in between the losses that he took there?
In between the losses, yeah, you could see it, Derek. Somebody who's willing to mix it up at least. Giga's one of the ones that, he's on the striking side. He's still willing to mix it up. But you got Dan Ige, Paul Felder, Justin Gaethje, even Kevin Lee. yeah, there's people that have shown him a multitude of different ways. And if Edson Barboza isn't able to figure out which attack is coming, then he does struggle a little bit. So if that's the way Sadiq's going to play this fight, more power to him, because that is the easiest route. We'll see if he can actually get lulled into that dogfight, because that's where I think it favors Edson Barboza in this one.
And that's my point here, is that this is going to be reminiscent, AJ, to your pick last week, where it was my man, Alex Morono, right? You're like, if he does the game plan accordingly, if he does what he needs to do to win the fight, I think that he is rightfully the favorite. But if he does not, and he plays into the style of his opponent, it gets really messy. So I'm going to give you guys that caveat. I really like Sodiq Yusuff in this spot. I think that he's a rightful favorite. I think that people are discounting him a touch. I think he should be a slightly larger favorite personally. But I do think if he kickboxes with Edson Barboza, it's going to be a world of hurt. So AJ, props. Which props do you like here?
Woo, me, Derek, personally, man. I want to go with that plus 175 TKO for the Barboza side. I want to. It seems possible. But at the same time, I'm giving Sadiq a lot of credit here. I'm going with that plus 650 decision for the Barboza side. What about you, Derek?
Okay, interesting. I mean, it's tough, man, because on one hand, these guys are talking it up, finish. Oh, man, I can't see how somebody walks out of there with the decision, right? But then again, you look at the methods of victory. There's a lot of decisions on the side of Sodiq Yusuff. Edson Barboza, if you look at his wins, yeah, he's either got stunning knockouts or he's got grinded out decisions. So I would say that, I mean, I'm going to push back. I guess for Barboza, I would probably lean that TKO more than I would the decision, just because he has the explosive capacities. I would lean decision more for Sodiq Yusuff. It does make me wonder, that plus 650 submission, though. If he pulls it out, bro, I mean, nobody's expecting it. That could be a long shot, but I say that's something you should definitely just think about it. But either way, give me Sodiq Yusuff. I'm going to roll with that 250 TKO. I think that if you're a wise better, folks, just, Bloody Water Podcast transparency here, rock with the money line, whichever way that you're rolling. I think that's going to be the wise pick. You got anything else on this one, AJ?
I agree with you 100%. You're laying some money down. Money line is the way to go.
That's right. All right. Massive main event with massive implications in what's going to be a very technical bout. But I like Sodiq Yusuff. AJ likes Barboza. May the best man win. Happy hunting, folks.